Hey guys, Krista here from BDOW and Krista, and in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to add BDOW social proof pop-ups to your website. So let me hit refresh on my homepage so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But these little pop-ups have been a total game changer for us. I absolutely love using them on our landing pages and in our shop, and I really think that they go a long way towards increasing conversions because they tell people who are on different pages of your site that other people are downloading your free guides or buying your products, and it just adds that like extra level of social proof, kind of the same way that you might see if like a restaurant had a big line of people standing outside. I think that when we see a lot of people flocking to one event or thing or like restaurant, it automatically tells us in our heads that this thing is probably worth checking out too, that other people enjoy it. So this is how we're going to set it up on our website. And this tool is actually included in the pro version of BDOW. And I was paying $129 a month previously for a different tool that just did these pop-ups. So when BDOW rolled out with these pop-ups, I was super excited to add these because I didn't have to pay anything else for BDOW. So if you don't already have a BDOW account, you can head to BDOW.com and create that account. And I have a link down below that will save you 20% on your first year subscription. So the first thing that we can do this is by creating an inline form in BDOW, connecting this to our mailing list, and then we'll set this trigger for this pop-up to show up. So let's create it. I'm going to start by creating a new campaign. I'm going to collect emails. I want this to be an inline form, and this is where I can kind of change up the text. So I don't want it to have a headline. I don't think this form needs to have that text right there because I'm going to have all of this on my website as well. But I do want to have a couple of different form fields in here. So I already have an email in here. I want to collect first name as well because I like to personalize my emails. So I duplicated this box and I'm going to click on here, and then we're going to change the preset to be first name. And so we can also change this to have placeholder text that says enter your first name. If I didn't want to have a background color on this form, I could remove that here. So we could make it transparent by adjusting this alpha number right here. I can make that 0, and that will make the form pull in my background color instead of pulling in its own background color. I can also change this little spot right here to be a different color. So if I wanted to do like a black color, and then I can change the text within the button up here. So I try to be more specific with my forms to tell people about what they'll be receiving if they enter in their email address. So instead of saying subscribe now, nobody probably wants to have more email in their box. I remind them of what they're getting. So this form in particular says get the questionnaire, or I might say like get your free template. We could say grab your free template. And then I'm going to keep scrolling down and going through these different settings. So I don't need to enable that smart mode. I'm going to grab this code in a second, but I'm going to customize a few more things first. You could also get fancy with some of the settings and hide it from people who have already subscribed. I don't typically turn that on because I want it to always be visible, just in case somebody forgets that they've gotten it. Then the next thing that we can do is set in a URL to send people to once they've subscribed. So I tend to have different hidden pages on my website that have a different thank you page for each one of our free downloads. And that's important for something like ads from Meta, because unless that information is passed through Meta, a lot of times it doesn't know that the conversion happened. So I have a thank you page URL right here. I'm just going to paste this in because it's a demo. This isn't the exact one that goes with this questionnaire, but it's not a big deal for tutorial purposes. You could send in email responses. I tend to do those through my ConvertKit or Kit account, but all of this is built into BDOW if you want to make use of those tools. I am going to deliver the file through ConvertKit as well. I'm not going to have it download this, include this content upgrade right here, but you could add your PDF in BDOW and have it get delivered that way. The next thing that we want to do is add them to a group. So if you have not made any groups yet in your BDOW account, I'm going to take a minute to do that now. So if I come over to my contacts and I go to groups, I create a different group for each download freebie that we have. So if we were actually creating this free branding questionnaire to have people download, I would create a new group for it. So I would say free brand questionnaire, and then we can say lead magnet. And then I would save this group. And so then if we come back to our form and we go to the success area, we can select this branding questionnaire group, and then it'll automatically add people to that group. And we need that group to get those pop-ups to actually show up. You could add tracking pixels to this form if you'd like, or subscribe pixels. But I tend to put those on my landing pages themselves in the header area and not actually in these forms. The last step of this form part is going to be connecting it to our mailing list. So I'm going to go to, I have it Zaps turned on, and I also have ConvertKit turned on. So I'm going to click on ConvertKit, otherwise known as Kit, and I'm going to pass people to a form that I already have in my ConvertKit account. And this form in my ConvertKit account is set up to send that free guide, free template. You could also push people to a sequence or a tag and then deliver your free stuff that way. It does a really good job of that. And so in this particular pop-up, I have it adding a tag. So if somebody's interested in this branding questionnaire, it might be that they are a designer, and so they get the designer tag, and then they also get pushed to the branding questionnaire tag. And then I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to update this form. Then the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a social proof pop-up. So we're going to create a new campaign. I'm going to do display social proof, and then we're going to go into the event source, and instead of doing it from the master list, this is where I'm selecting that group that I created, and that's how that form that we made is going to talk to this pop-up. So branding questionnaire as my group. I'll show you how to do it from a Zap in a minute. So branding questionnaire, we can change the style of it, whether you want it to be rounded or square. You can change the fonts between a variety of Google fonts. Let's go with Work Sans. That's one of my brand fonts. You can put in your own colors. So if I wanted it to be grays instead of that tealy green, I can do that as well. And then we can also change the text a little bit about what shows up here. So we can pull in some variables, and the variables that you can add are listed right here. So this is the first line, and that's going to be this one. And so it's going to say name, so Krista from Virginia. And then the body is where you would say what they did. So I would say grabbed the brand questionnaire, or made a purchase, or bought from the shop. And then this time just says how long it's been since that action took place. And I think that this text might be a little bit long. So let's see if I can reduce it a little bit. Grabbed the questionnaire. There we go. There we go. So now it's all on one line. And then I'm going to go into my settings, and this is how you can control how many pop-ups show up and how often they show up. So by default, it's going to show 7 per session. We could make it like 20 if we wanted. They're going to show up every 3 seconds, and they're going to display for 5 seconds. You could also add a rule that people could toggle these off. I have those on. And then they recommend leaving this high yield tech on just to help throttle these in case your site has some load issues. The visibility settings are where we're going to show the pop-ups. So this is the URL of the page where they're going to be popping up. So I'm going to grab the URL of this page in here, and I would paste this here in display rules. So I want these pop-ups to show this exact path, but you could also adjust this to only show up on certain pages or certain devices if a URL contains certain words. So if you only wanted it to show up on blog posts and all of your blog posts had the blog URL in them, you could include that. So lots of different variables that you can add to really personalize this. So we can add that condition, and then I would save my draft and then publish. The second part of this process is going to be to add the inline form that we created to your landing page. So my landing page was built in Showit. So I'm going to come back here to our brand questionnaire inline form, and I'm going to come down to the visibility settings. And since I've already added in all of the settings already and saved them, I just need to copy this to my clipboard, and then I'm going to pull up Showit. So app.showit.com, and I can go to my website, and if I have this on my branding questionnaire page, which is this one, I already have one on here, but I can add an embed code box and then paste this code in and hit save. And so then if I publish it, I should see this form here. And then those social proof pop-ups are also going to start coming up as well as downloads happen. The pop-ups will only show for people who have entered their name with this particular form after all of this has been added. It's not going to go back and retroactively add these pop-ups. So if you want to test to see if it's working, you could put in a fake email address and a fake name. So we'll use one of my kids' names. So Bennett, we call him the Bennett Bear. Benny at thebennetbear.com. Not actually a URL, but you get the point. So this is the success page. It's showing me that the download went through. It should appear in my inbox. And then if I come back here in a minute or two, I should start seeing those pop-ups appear. So there we go. Bennett from Lexington received the questionnaire less than a minute ago. So that's how you would do this with that's how you can do this with like a lead magnet page or a landing page. You can also set it up to work with a shop. So it's kind of a different process. And I'm going to walk you through it right now. So to set up the social proof pop-ups for our shop, we used a Zap in order to do that. So the first part of the process is going to be the same. We're going to create a social proof campaign. So I have this display social proof settings. My event source this time though, instead of it coming from a lead, it's going to come from a Zap. So if you haven't connected your Zapier account yet, you'll want to do that. So if you haven't connected your Zapier account yet, that's what you want to do next. There are a few different spots in BDOW that you can do that. I'm going to come down to design, and I kept all of these settings similar. So I have it as the pill style with where it stands and then my brand colors. And it doesn't pull in the actual like name of the product that somebody bought. So we just have it say bought from Davey and Krista. And then instead of adding a specific time, this one says recently. Then we can go into our settings and change how many pop-ups show up. So I have 25, 3 seconds in between, and they last for 5 seconds. And this high tech yield is on. And then next is going to be visibility. So I have these appearing in the bottom left corner of our website. I set the scroll depth on here to be 8%. And this is something that you would want to play with go up or down if your pop-ups are not showing up over top of other elements. I have them timed to show up after 1 second. They always appear. And then this one is showing up on specific paths. So I don't have it showing up on some of my sales pages for our courses. Those have their own pop-ups on them, but it is showing up on all of the paths that contain a product. It shows up on our main URL, so our homepage, and it shows up in our shop pages and our blog pages. Because I felt like those were the most important places that those sales and social proof need to happen in order to capture different users. So those are my rules. And then next, I'm going to click on update. And if you started this process and you have yet to connect your Zapier account, you could go over to your settings right here and to integrations. And you can see that I have WooCommerce connected in ours. I turned on Zapier and logged in. And so that's connected here. And then we also have our mailing list set up, which is ConvertKit, otherwise known as Kit. So that is how you do that. And then in Zapier, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to create a new Zap. We'll call this, let's see. So I'm going to select WooCommerce as my event. So we'll search for WooCommerce. And it's going to be this one. And I'm going to make the event a purchase, so order. And my account is already connected. If yours wasn't connected, you'd want to do that. So you could connect a new account, but I'm going to select this one. And then our second action is going to be BDOW. So right now, BDOW is invite only because it's brand new. But if you message them on their website, you can ask to get added to this beta if it's not public by the time you're watching this video. So we've got this guy happening, and we're going to make it record a social proof event. And it happens when that trigger happens, and we'll just hit continue. And then it's going to pull in some data. So we'd want to set our data here for mapping. So I would want to pull, let's see, complete that step. Okay, so I didn't set this order. Order created. Yes, continue. Okay, So we're going to test that trigger. And then we'll just select one of these records to use as our example. So let's continue with that record. And then we're going to map our data. So we'll select this, the name. So billing first name, we're going to select the location. And so we're going to select our location. I'm going to pull in this person's city, and then our event source should pull in here. We're going to make this our social proof. This is coming in from BDOW. So I need my purchase, customized templates, social proof brand questionnaire. So as long as my social proof campaign is published over in BDOW, then I can pull in the correct event source. So I'll click the one that corresponds with it, and then we'll hit continue. And then we can test it, or we can skip the test. I'm gonna skip it because this is just practice. And then I would hit publish. Any purchases that happen in our shop should be logged in the BDOW social proof pop-up, and they'll start popping up in BDOW. So I hope this video is helpful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below. And if you want to check out BDOW, there's also a link to save 20% on your first year.